I hate long intros, man. Y'all can read the title. Let's get into it.
Local Channel 69 News has just received some breaking news. James Harden is missing. He was last seen getting brutally attacked by the Miami Heat.
James, please come home. We miss you so much.
Son, if you're out there, I promise we're not mad at you, okay? I'll give you the foul calls. Please come home, son. I can't.
So I'm recording this video Friday night after the Miami Heat did their best to blow a 20-plus point lead against the Charlotte Hornets, but they did not. I'll get into that game last. Over here are all the games the Heat played this week. They had a strong week, finishing with a 3-1 record. Let's get into the first game. First, we're going to be talking about the Indiana Pacers game. It was a tough loss, man. I wanted to win that game for Tyler. I really did. What that boy did at the end of the game was just fascinating, man. It was a bad loss, not because Indiana is bad or anything, but just because they had played the previous night in overtime and lost. So you think back-to-back nights, second overtime game in 2 nights. We didn't really see that many nice things in that game. We saw aggressive Bam from the start, which was nice because it was the second game of the year. He was aggressive against Milwaukee. It was nice to see him continue that. But it was pretty clear early on how big an impact Kyle Lowry has on this team. Either that was pretty clear or how much Gabe Vincent sucks is clear. But I don't want to do that to Gabe Vincent. We can't put that loss on him. But they just had so many turnovers. In the first half, they had 10 turnovers and 7 assists. That's terrible. That's really bad. They gave up 11 offensive rebounds too. But in the third quarter, those boys stepped up. Their defense stepped up. They only gave up 8 points in the third quarter. 8 points. I thought the late game execution down the stretch was pretty bad. Okay. So we had Tyler Hero. He was balling out. He was taking every shot imaginable, step back, fadeaway threes, swishing them. I was over here texting my boys saying, oh, he's better than Luka. He's better than Trey. And yeah, I got ahead of myself there. But it wasn't Tyler's fault that we lost. They started double teaming him. He was passing a little bit. Then I feel like Jimmy tried a little too much to take over when I kind of wish they would have settled it down and tried to get back to Tyler. I will say about Jimmy, though, he was getting hammered like a lot, and then we're giving him no foul calls. But I don't want to be James Harden. I don't want to complain about the officiating in that case. The officiating is not why the Heat lost this game at all. Back to the late game execution. Jimmy settled for too many contested jumpers. Even at the end of regulation, they had a chance to win the game. They had a couple seconds left and they had to inbound the ball. And Spo gave it to Tyler to inbound. And Jimmy settled for a contested fadeaway mid-range shot that he missed. Like, why'd you have Tyler inbound, man? You should have had Jimmy inbound, try to get the ball to Tyler since he was hot. He was cooking and let him end the game. But he didn't. They lost. Again, it was a bad loss only because Indiana was on a back-to-back. But Indiana's a good team. The Heat were 1-1. Second game of the year. Not too big a deal. Next, we're going to be talking about the Heat's very strong performance against the Orlando Magic. We saw Bam start off aggressive again from the jump. Starting to look like it'll be a pattern. And I don't think we're going to have to worry about Bam's aggressiveness this year, which is a huge relief because Bam's aggressiveness, that is one of the things that really got me the most annoyed last year. Because when Bam was aggressive, they could not stop him. They just couldn't stop him. So we're starting to see a pattern. Bam's being aggressive, and I think he's starting to learn how good he can actually be. So I'm reading my notes here. During each game, I take some notes about things that I saw and I was thinking so I could talk about in these videos. The second bullet point for this game simply says Lowry is a good player. Because he is. He was getting such easy shots for Jimmy, Bam, and everybody else. And just seeing how they played that game versus the Magic versus the previous game versus Indiana, he just makes a world's difference. And the offense runs so much smoother with Lowry in there. Jimmy was balling. Nice to see Jimmy bounce back from a strong game against Indiana. His defense is the best, though, man. Jimmy plays the passing lanes better than anybody I've ever seen. It'd be really nice if the Miami Dolphins could sign him. So I have another bullet point here that just says Wagner is a punk. As soon as he checked into the game, he got chippy with a couple guys, Markieff Morris and I think Dedmon. And it's not surprising. I listened to Mo Wagner on Duncan's podcast because they're really good friends. They both went to Michigan, and they were talking a lot about how Wagner always gets Duncan irritated and stuff. Duncan's first ever and only technical foul was because of Mo Wagner, actually. He was on Duncan Robinson's podcast talking about, like, oh, I don't know why things always get chippy when yeah, man. Okay. You're kind of a punk, man, but whatever, man. Punk. I feel like punk is a word that like old people used to describe kids. So I kind of take that back. But yeah, it was nice to see that they took care of business against a team that's obviously rebuilding. Markieff was hot. I was kind of getting mad because Markieff kept hitting mid-range jumpers, and I was like, he's going to keep shooting them, and that's not a good shot for him. But he kept hitting. He kept hitting. Tyler had a rough night shooting the ball, but it was incredible. He had 9 assists. The play of the game, though, Duncan Robinson, a little one-hand, little mini tomahawk dunk, and he surprised a lot of teammates, too. And he surprised me, too. I mean, I know he can dunk, But still, you know, he kind of came out of nowhere. Don't tell me it didn't surprise you too. I know it did. Overall, great performance by them. And they were moving on to a strong test versus the Brooklyn Nets, man. A game that I was so excited to see them win. So excited to see them dominate towards the end and really not be a close game. Because just already 1-2 weeks into the season, they've already beat the Milwaukee Bucks. They've already beat the Brooklyn Nets. 2 statement games off the jump. You just love to see it. Early on, it was annoying because their 3-point defense was horrible. Somehow you let Joe Harris keep getting open when that's all he can do, and they just kept over switching, and Durant was kind of cooking hero a little bit. But they all figured it out come the second half. A couple other exciting things about this game was Dedmon and PJ Tucker. Those boys were doing the dirty work. It's so hard to believe that he picked up Dwayne Dedmon out of free agency last year. He was just out there sitting on the street chilling. You're telling me that there was no other team that wanted Dwayne Dedmon? Dude is a baller. He plays 14, 15 minutes a night and gives it his all. This man is getting, his per 36 numbers are godly. They're Wilt-esque. But I love Dedmon, man. Even PJ, he's really made a strong impression on me. So just to see them come in and do the grit, the dirty work, the hustle work, I just love to see it. And it's huge for this team. Speaking of PJ Tucker, he outscored James Harden. That is just too funny. And that will never happen again. Never happen again. So I just wanted to enjoy that one. Something else that was surprising to me was Patty Mills. He is the Hall of Fame class random scrub heat killer. You got him. You got like Marcus Thornton. You got Terrence Ross. You had Wayne Ellington. There's a whole bunch of guys. Those are just the first that come at the top of my head. But Patty Mills is damn near the top of that list. The fact that he didn't go off, but he also sucked, was shocking to me. I actually picked him up at FanDuel just because I thought he would go off, but he didn't, which was awesome. So I was happy about that. In the final game this week, the game that just finished about an hour ago, the Miami Heat beat the Charlotte Hornets. They were up big early, came close late, but they pulled it out. You know, that was really encouraging to see because that's a game they would have lost last year. You know what? That is a game they lost last year. They had a game, it was at home versus Charlotte. They were up 10-12 with about 2 minutes to go, and they lost that game. And then they lost in overtime to Golden State 2 days later. And I remember saying those 2 losses could hurt us. And they did, because we could have been the 4 seed if we won. A big reason they pulled it out is late in crunch time when things started to get close, they still played their game. Lowry still pushed the ball. They still got ball moving. Still gave it to Bam inside. Had like 3 or 4 just manly dunks on a bunch of Hornets, you know? So they ran their offense. Last year, it was give Jimmy the ball, let him go ISO, hit a prayer with 2 seconds left on the shot clock off a bad shot. Also, I like about the ending is Spo left in Max Strus. Just like in the game against Brooklyn when he left in Duncan because Duncan was shooting a little better than Tyler. Today, he left in Max Strus because Max Strus was shooting a little better than Duncan. So I like that Spoelstra isn't really by the book like that, and he just plays the game how he sees it. It was nice to see Tyler have a bounce back. He had 20-something points, 6 boards, 5 assists. Nice to see Bam have a dominant game. Nice to see Jimmy have a dominant game. There was a play in the first quarter. Jimmy was just running down the court, and for no reason pulled a transition 3. For no reason. And he switched it. And when he shot that, I said, what the? Good shot, boy. That was a terrible shot. But he hit it. And I know you're not going to get that from Jimmy. So I'm not even going to say how good this team would be if you could get that from Jimmy. But the whole team was shooting bad from 3 today. They couldn't hit open threes. That's kind of been the theme of this season, how bad the 3-point shooting's been. But that's also super encouraging because the fact that they have the largest point differential in the NBA and all their wins have been double digits and they have yet to have a game where they shot well, especially Duncan, that's scary, man. Because I know that's not going to continue. But it's nice that they can recover from these bad shooting nights from 3, from the offensive rebounding, and from the they were perfect again from the free throw line. And I think they were perfect or near perfect against Brooklyn too from the free throw line. So that's how you can kind of make up for these poor shooting nights, which I know won't continue. Tomorrow night's going to be tough. They're playing in Memphis against the Grizzlies. Ja Morant has been a man on a mission this year. He's been unstoppable. The Heat are going to have a hard time with that. They usually have a hard time playing in Memphis and guarding Ja Morant and on back-to-backs. So tomorrow's going to be tough, but we'll see what happens. I'll have a video next week, probably Friday or Saturday, describing all the games between now and then. So we'll talk about that game then and see if I was right or see if I'm a bad Heat fan and I don't trust the Heat and believe in them, apparently. But we'll find that out next week. So yeah, that's all the games between the last video and this one. Like I said, I think I'm going to try recording these videos every Friday night, and I'll talk about all the games in between. I'd like to maybe add some other content to this channel too besides just game recaps, but if ideas come to me, I'll put them out. But honestly, who knows? You may never see me again, especially since the Heat have a really tough schedule coming up. Might be kind of depressing to keep doing this. But you know what? I'm going to be a good Heat fan for once. I believe in this team. Don't clip that if we lose 4 straight. Don't clip that. But yeah, you may never see me again. Who knows? We'll find out next week or not. I'll see you later. Bye.